morning, everyone. I'm Ron Ashburn. I'm the Executive Director of the Association for Iron and Steel Technology, and it's my honor to welcome you to Columbus and AIST's President's Award Breakfast. Before we begin, I do want to point out our emergency egress route, so in case we need to evacuate this room, you're going to exit back through those doors you came through, go down the escalators or the stairs, and exit the building at that point. Mr. Philip Bell, President of the Steel Manufacturers Association, will offer the invocation, and I'd ask everyone to please stand.
Will you please bow your heads? Oh, gracious and most merciful Father, we thank you for once again bringing us together to convene, to collaborate, and to celebrate this wonderful and glorious industry that we are a part of. Each year, this event brings people from around the globe to talk about, share ideas, find solutions to an industry that is so fundamental and so instrumental in the lives of millions of people around the world. We ask that you shed your grace over this event. We bless the food we're about to receive from your bountiful goodness. And we thank you for once again bringing people from all faiths, from all regions, from all technical disciplines, and from all aspects of the steel and iron industry supply chains together. In thy name we pray, amen.
Thank you, Phil. Thank you all. I'm going to ask you to please remain standing. We want to take a moment to recognize the passing of a steel industry luminary and a very close friend to AIST, Mr. Gianpietro Benedetti, who died Sunday, April 28th, at the age of 81. Throughout his 63-year career of passionate commitment to the Danieli Group, Mr. Benedetti left an indelible impression of technological evolution of the global steel industry. And over the last 2 decades, he led Danieli as chairman, growing the company into what it is today, a preeminent technology partner to steel producers the world over. Mr. Benedetti was a fierce and respected competitor and a genius innovator for steel. His vision and now his legacy has given us industry standards for both flat and long production routes. He was an advocate for AIST. He provided the organization with unconditioned support. He was an icon for the global steel industry, and his presence will be missed. Let us have a moment of silence for Mr. Benedetti and for all the colleagues who departed this year. Thank you. Please be seated. At this time, I'm going to ask the wait staff to commence with the breakfast service, and we're going to take a short break to eat. And just prior to reconvening, we'll show the winning entry to our Real Steel video contest, sponsored by the AIST Foundation's University and Industry Relations Roundtable. Students are challenged to produce a short video highlighting today's modern steel technology. They recognize the use of advanced technology, energy conservation, and environmental awareness. The theme from this year was industry advancements that set steel apart. The grand prize was $3,000, and it went to Shivanand Verma from the Pranveer Singh Institute of Technology. We're going to follow that student video with a short message from our event sponsor, the Systems Group, and please enjoy your breakfast.
From the smallest needles to the largest planes, steel is seen everywhere. Steel is a metal alloy made of iron and carbon. Its high tensile strength and low production cost make it ideal for many important uses. Furthermore, stainless steel contains special alloys that protect against rust and corrosion. Steel has changed nearly every aspect of the modern-day world. From bridges and buildings to cars and appliances, this versatile metal alloy is used everywhere. Because of its great recyclability, it is the most significant material of the future sustainable society. Making steel is also highly carbon intensive. according to 2018 data, making 1 metric ton of steel results in 1.8 metric tons of CO2 emissions, and steel production accounts for about 8% of global CO2 emissions. Nearly 3/4 of crude steel is made from iron ore in blast furnace, basic oxygen furnace plants. These plants release carbon when coking coal is burned and used as a reducing agent. Steel industry is evolving to counter the CO2 emissions by taking decarbonization measures like 1. Electric arc furnaces were traditionally used for scrap steel. However, some companies have developed a technology that uses electricity to transform iron ore into molten iron, with oxygen as a byproduct. 2. Green hydrogen is now replacing coal in blast furnaces and producing water, instead of CO2, as a byproduct. 3. Carbon capture, use and storage is being used to safely store or repurpose carbon produced during steelmaking to create new products. 4. Less carbon-intensive fuels such as natural gas and biomass is also being tested to marginally reduce emissions from steel production. However, some of the decarbonizing projects are still at the pilot stage, which may emerge in large-scale solutions.
Another element is that the steel sector has actually one of the largest CO2 reduction levels per unit of zero carbon electricity. This is because the fuel switch in the steel sector is either from coal to electricity in the case of secondary steel making, or from coal to renewable hydrogen. And the CO2 reduction potential is greater than in many other sectors per unit of zero carbon electricity.
As it adapts to the demands of the future, it stands as a beacon for aspiring engineers seeking to make a meaningful impact. Conducting industry-academia conclave and offering mentorship programs, internships, and opportunities for hands-on experience will appeal to young engineers who seek impactful and challenging roles. The steel industry continues to evolve, driven by a commitment to innovation, sustainability, and inclusivity.
Hardened forearms with veins and scars, strong as the steel they've melted. And callous palms and faded tattoos, a steel maker's hands. And old rusty buildings with ductwork and stacks, and old dusty pulpits and American flags, and the furnace hums. A steelmaker's song. In fighters, explosions, and breakouts and cobbles. In hard times and good times, he's been through it all. And the weak don't last, and the strong survive. And the sounds of the bombs when the furnace goes live. And silvers and pride are all that's between the molten steel and the steel man's dream.
All right, we're back. So we have a lot to accomplish this morning. We're going to start the program. I know you're going to be still finishing up your breakfast, for which I would like to thank the people here at the Greater Columbus Convention Center and their staff for all their service this morning. Please give all these hardworking people a nice round of applause. Thank you. AIST traces its lineage through AIME back to 1871. That's 153 years ago. But the organization has grown and it's evolved just like any family tree. And this year we mark the 20th anniversary of AIST, which was born from the desperation created by more than 40 North American steel producer bankruptcies between 1998 and 2003. In retrospect, there were myriad reasons that led us and our industry to the brink. Overcapacity, fragmentation, a lack of fixed asset investment, and others. Some of these wounds were self-inflicted. And make no mistake about it, we were knocked down, but we were never knocked out. And as I stand here today, the industry has consolidated. The industry has invested. And the industry just isn't surviving, it is thriving. Many North American producers have vertically integrated to garner control over their supply chains. Most of the EAF plants own their own scrap companies, and the two largest integrated producers own their own iron ore mines. Some are now pursuing joint ventures to secure their energy supplies. 20 years ago, the only sectors that reliably profited from steel were the iron ore miners and the auto companies. And since then, an entire generation has seen market power shift towards steel producers. Our companies are now reliably profitable, and that's an essential ingredient for being sustainable. And the industry is attracting unprecedented level of private and public investment, much of which is to reduce CO2 emissions, and it's led to a technological renaissance that will leverage clean energy like wind and solar, nuclear and hydrogen. It won't be easy. Steelmaking in both science and economics is difficult. We know that. It comes with a high cost of capital and a long-term return on that investment. But climate-neutral steel brings with it the opportunity to leverage our collective industrial strength for the greater good of this planet. And I've never been more confident about the trajectory of this industry than I am right now. Indeed, the next 20 years look even better than the last. And as a knowledge center for steel, AIST intends to facilitate the best, the most informed thinking among all of our stakeholders, the steel producers, the technology and the service providers, academia, government, and our public. Decarbonization is a shared challenge, and we can only solve it by working together. And now more than ever, we need access to the latest technology, and this is what AISTech is all about. Over the last 2 decades, it's grown to become the world's largest annual platform for the dissemination of knowledge to advance the steel manufacturing process. The AISTech Planning Committee has been chaired this year by ArcelorMittal Dofasco's Shannon Clark, and all metrics indicate record participation. We have 475 technical presentations representing more than 1,600 authors from over 35 countries. We have 687 exhibiting companies and almost 8,400 people. I'm proud to announce this year's program is the largest ever in our 153-year history. You all made it happen, so please do give yourselves a well-deserved round of applause. Absolutely. I would now like to make a number of introductions, and I'm going to ask that you please hold your applause until each of these groups is introduced. And ladies and gentlemen here on the dais, as you are introduced, would you please stand and remain standing? Now, starting just to the left of the podium in the front row with our current officers, we have Keith Howe from ArcelorMittal North America. He's our past president. Tom Toner, SSAB Americas, AIST's second vice president. We have Tracy Forrester, Cleveland Cliffs, AIST officer at large. John Spear, Colorado School of Mines, AIST officer at large. John's a distinguished member. He's also AIME honorary member and the AIME past president. Greg Brandon, CMC Steel, officer at large. Mark Fedor, Morgan, he's the AIST and the AIST Foundation treasurer. Also with us, we have Glenn Pushis, AIST Foundation president. He's a 2015 AIST past president and AIME honorary member. Ron O'Malley, Missouri S&T, AIME trustee. He's also a past president, 2019-2020. He's a distinguished member, AIME honorary member, and he's an award recipient this year. We have Phil Bell, SMA, he's their president. Kevin Dempsey, AISI, he's their president. We have with us Dan Brown from U.S. Steel. He's a town hall panelist this year. We also have Wendell Carter from Cleveland Cliffs, a town hall panelist. He's our 2016 AIST past president. He's a distinguished member and an AIME honorary member. We have with us Chris Graham from Steel Dynamics, town hall panelist, and Prasanna Joshi, ExxonMobil, another town hall panelist. Please give this group a nice warm welcome. Next, the AIST Board of Directors who are with us today, starting on your left in the back row. We have Karim Al-Sharafa, Volmer America. Chase Alt, Steel Dynamics. Amy Beard, Quaker Houghton. Nick Bucci, Nucor Steel. Steve Savanek, Nalco Water. Kevin Delleman, Baltimore Air Coil. Carl Geringer, Steel Dynamics. James Hendrickson, Cleveland Cliffs. James Hoffman, ArcelorMittal Dofasco. Bill Jones, U.S. Steel. Nikhil Kulkarni, Steel Dynamics. Mark McGinley, Hall Industry, he's a distinguished member. Jose Noldine, Gravity. Sabra Serena, CMC Steel. Grant Thomas, Cleveland Cliffs. And Zane Voss from CIX. This esteemed group has worked over the last year to govern AIST. We owe them a debt of gratitude for their service to our association and to our industry. Please give them a warm welcome. Next, our honored guests, starting with those who have led us in previous years. These are our past presidents who are also with us today. From 2018, Jim Dudek, he's a foundation trustee. From 2015, George Koenig, Hatch Associates, is our town hall chair. He's a distinguished member, AIME honorary member. From 2013, Terry Fedor, Cleveland Cliffs, AIME honorary member, and he's the foundation president-elect. From 2010, Bill Breedlove, Breedlove Consulting Services. He's a past foundation president. He's also a distinguished member and AIME honorary member. From 2006, Dick Teets, retired from Steel Dynamics. He's a distinguished member and AIME honorary member. From 2004, Tom Graham Jr., Hot Work, USA. And from 1996, Bernie Fedak, retired from U.S. Steel. Please join me in thanking them. Continuing on, we have Shannon Clark, ArcelorMittal Dofasco, the AISTech Conference Planning Committee Chair. Zafra Kunt, ArcelorMittal Global R&D. Ross Edmond, Prime Metals Technologies. Richard Osse, Steel Dynamics. Moving to the front, we have Bill Emling. He's retired from SMS Group, Emling Metallurgical Services, and a distinguished member. Sarah Hornby, Global Strategic Solutions. Sunday Abraham, SSAB Americas. Thaddeus Zenzimir, T. Zenzimir Company. Ian Deeks, Nucor. Tom Berenger, Gantrex. Mike Dudzik, retired from ArcelorMittal Dofasco. Chris Pistorius, Carnegie Mellon University. Sridhar Sitaraman, Arizona State University. Bill Barker, retired, National Steel. He's also the 2004 past president and AIME honorary member. Ian Sadler, retired MCC International, our 2003 past president. He's AIME past president and AIME honorary member. We have Joe Rutkowski, retired from Nucor, our 2003 past president. Chuck Schmidt, SSAB Americas. Our keynote speaker will be Máximo Vedoya of Ternium. And the AIST president, Barry Schneider from Steel Dynamics. Please give them a warm welcome. And I wish to thank all of you in the audience for your individual and your collective contributions to the fulfillment of our mission here over the past 20 years. A sincere thank you to our sponsor, the Systems Group, for underwriting the breakfast program, and to our steel producers, our industry suppliers, and the steel academia. Together, we've positioned the steel industry in a better place than it was before, and we can all be proud of this significant accomplishment. I wish all the members of AIST a very happy 20th anniversary. Now, please join me in welcoming to the podium is AIST President Barry Schneider.
Thank you, Ron, and good morning to everyone. I also want to thank the AIST membership for the opportunity to serve as your president this past year. If you ask someone who's been around this industry long enough to describe what it's like, they may say something like, well, there's never a dull moment. Typically, this is said in a weary sort of way, often by people at some point in their career have lain awake at night wondering if their company was going to survive the next down cycle, or who have had a supervisor tell them something like, you've got 10 minutes to get us back up and running or you're fired. I have experiences with both of these scenarios. But today, the ethos behind that statement has changed because this truly is an exciting time, and in the best ways possible. There is never a dull moment in the steel industry. We're experiencing a multi-generational investment cycle, one that has brought about more than $26 billion in CapEx to North American steel. And we're not just investing in more of the same. We're investing in new technologies that will allow us to do more with less, and we will do it better. In the meantime, our politicians are grasping the importance of steel. And make no mistake, diplomacy is essential to the current environment. Here in the U.S., we have enacted three important pieces of legislation: the Infrastructure Act, the CHIPS Act, and the Inflation Reduction Act, all three of which will encourage the development of a green energy grid and drive new steel demand over the long term. The future indeed looks very bright. Despite the optimism, steel struggles in the court of public opinion. If you ask the average person about steel, you may not be surprised if you hear that steel is obsolete, uses outdated technology, it's bad for the environment, and even unsafe. Every now and again, it's important to preach to the choir to remind us of the importance that steel is: strong, durable, easily formed and machined. You can weld it, attach things to it. It's magnetic, cost-effective, and the most recycled material on the planet. What the public doesn't see is that steel is an evolving, engineered material that can improve the quality of life for every human being on Earth, and perhaps even beyond. Steel has an unbeatable value proposition. Of course, we all know that, but we must never forget to remind ourselves. We need to shift the public mindset of an industry that was unsafe, dirty, and old to one that is safe, green, and smart. Sustainable steel is safe, green, and smart. At the last AIST Leadership Conference, it was proposed to establish an industry-wide marketing committee to sway public opinion to support the steel industry. While there has been significant CapEx investment in recent years, there is no such investment in a collaborative market outreach to educate the public about the vision for steel. For those who may recall, the last concerted effort was the Steel Alliance, which disbanded 20 years ago amidst all the bankruptcies that Ron had discussed. Two fundamental facts exist. One, a green energy economy will be steel intensive. Think about wind towers, solar farms, electric vehicles, hydrogen power plants, and all forms of power transmission. These are all steel intensive. You can't build any of these things without steel. Two, steel is and will continue to be energy intensive to produce. As an example, the steel industry in this state, Ohio, uses more energy than all other uses in the state combined. If we're going to rely on green energy, we will need lots of it, and it must be competitively available. The vision is clear. A green energy economy will require a sustainable steel industry. In simple words, green energy needs steel, and steel needs green energy. We should educate the public about this interdependence. To move these ideas forward, AIST is contemplating an informational meeting to better understand what is already being done and if a collaborative effort makes sense. We invite all interested parties, including the AISI, the SMA, to join us. For steel production, there was no single road to reach carbon neutrality. It will take a variety of solutions and a variety of technologies, many of which need further commercial development. To this end, AIST is nearing completion of work that the U.S. Department of Commerce to compile a technology roadmap for iron and steel manufacturing. This roadmap includes 4 technological themes. 1, electrification of processes. 2, alternative energy sources and low carbon fuels. 3, material and energy optimization. And 4, carbon capture, utilization, and storage. AIST recently surveyed our membership about these major decarbonization technologies, their scale of impact on carbon reduction, and their timeline for implementation. The results will be published in the Roadmaps report this September. I wish to thank the AIST Decarbonization Core Team of academic and national lab members, along with AIST's Dr. Alicia Goffin, for spearheading this project. To take full advantage of these opportunities, we need AIST to be at the top of its game, and I am proud to report the state of the association is strong. We ended 2023 with 17,539 members, representing a 5.4% year-on-year growth. Our young professional membership is up 6.6%, and our female membership is up 23.4%, all really representing impressive gains. At our current pace, an all-time membership record set in 2019 is well within reach by the end of this year. I encourage all of us to help set another new record for AIST. Workforce development is a priority for every company today. and AIST is well positioned to help with our 29 technology committees. Collectively, these committees comprise 4,500 members representing the world's most robust and diversified network of steel manufacturing expertise. These committee programs, numerous training courses to curriculum specific to steel. These courses experienced strong attendance over this past year, including a record-setting 289 crane specialists who attended the 2023 Crane Symposium, the most ever for an AIST training course. We are thankful for the strong shoulders of our AIST crane giants, including Tom Berenger, Mark McGinley, Bill Schierenbeck, and Rich Warner. In keeping with the anniversary theme, both the Crane Symposium and the Electric Steelmaking Training Seminar are celebrating 30 years of providing the industry with specialized expertise. This long-standing commitment is made possible through dedicated members like John Ridgway of CMC, one of my presidential citation recipients this year, and Jeremy Jones, who has volunteered as an instructor at the EAF seminar for every one of those 30 years. 30 years, it's incredible. New training programs introduced this past year include Project Management 101 and Cold Rolling 201. These courses put us one step closer to an informed, educated, and knowledgeable workforce, a workforce that will help steel succeed. I wish to thank Neil Tanyan of Hatch for his work on the Project Management curriculum, and who is also one of my presidential citation recipients this year. The AIST study tours are actively providing steel producers from around the world with an unparalleled opportunity to tour plants and discuss regional practices, which together represent an exceptional level of technology exchange that is not available elsewhere. Last fall, the Long Technology Committee visited 5 plants in Germany, and the Coke Making Technology Committee visited Japan to tour 4 Coke plants and conduct technical discussions with the Iron and Steel Institute of Japan. This year began with reciprocal visits by Long Products personnel from Germany, Sweden, and Mexico to the United States, who visited 5 steel producers in the mid-Atlantic states. In March, Continuous Casting visited 5 steel plants in Korea, and in April, the Galvanizing Committee went to Germany and Austria to visit 5 steel plants and 3 engineering facilities. Coming up next month, the Environmental Technology Committee will visit Sweden to tour 7 facilities along with technical discussions with the Swedish Steel Association. This fall, electric steelmaking will travel to Japan, and next spring, safety and health will go to the United Kingdom. We encourage all steel producers to join an AIST Technology Committee to access these unique opportunities. To remove barriers to entry for many prospective AIST members, which can also have a positive effect on our industry, AIST continues to expand our Women in Steel programming and its roundtable that is now annually held at AISTech. We also held our first Women in Steel conference, September in Pittsburgh, which sold out with 270 attendees. The program was specifically designed to support the recruitment and engagement and professional development of women in the global steel industry. The conference will return to Pittsburgh on September 16th to 18th, and I encourage you to register early to secure your spot. And yes, men are welcome and encouraged to attend. A special thank you to Kelly Dallas of Cleveland Cliffs, who's the inaugural chair of the Women in Steel Committee and one of my presidential citation recipients this year. With programs like our Young Professional Roundtable, which we had here in Columbus on Sunday, we are building a strong foundation that will serve the steel industry well in the years ahead. I want to thank Liz Hunter of Nucor for chairing our new Young Professionals Committee, and Tom Toner of SSAB, who joined the roundtable to share his career path advice. For the first time, the AIST Mexico chapter combined its 2 biennial programs into one annual congress, now known as Expo Acero, making it the largest steel event in Mexico. This year, the event hosted 127 exhibitors, 80 technical presentations, and drew an impressive 2,700 attendees. If you have business in Mexico, please make a point to learn more about Expo Acero. Looking beyond North America, our MENA chapter held its first in-person MENA Steel Summit in Cairo, Egypt last June. The event attracted 180 attendees and showcased regional steel innovations alongside their host, AIST Steel. The chapter will hold a roundtable September 18th with steel producers from the Gulf Cooperation Council, together with host Solb Steel in Bahrain. Our gratitude to the chapter chair, Kareem Badr of RHI Magnesita, and to the organizing committee for their dedication to the AIST mission in the MENA region. Our European chapter will conduct the next AIT European Steel Forum on November 5th to 7th in Essen, Germany, marking the first AIST conference ever held in Germany. Hatch Kuttner will be the host company. Of note, the Hydrogen Technology Office of the U.S. Department of Energy will co-organize programming with this event as we expand access to public-private partnerships for the steel industry. Our gratitude to Joe Petrolito of Hatch and the European chapter leadership for their passionate and enduring support of this year. To emphasize the importance of a strategic global vision for steel, AIST has partnered with World Steel Dynamics to create the Global Steel Dynamics Forum, with its second edition on June 17th and 18th in New York City. This executive event is to catalyze the steel industry as a leader for all manufacturing by articulating strategy for productivity, green, digital, and workforce, each of which is rooted in technology and culture. I'd like to thank Phil Englund and Adam Green at World Steel Dynamics for their partnership. As we take stock of all that's going on today, there indeed is never a dull moment in steel. In fact, I don't think there has ever been a more exciting time in the steel industry. To see the path ahead, one must also be a student of history, and it is appropriate to acknowledge AIME in this context. Representing 200,000 members worldwide, the American Institute of Mining, Metallurgical, and Petroleum Engineers, and its four member societies, AIST, SME, SPE, and TMS, have a united heritage of service since its founding in 1871. As a member society, AIST applauds the longevity of AIME and will continue to support its future ambition to improve the engineering professions and quality of life for all. I wish to thank Ron O'Malley, an AIST past president, who represents our member society on the AIME Board of Trustees. In closing, AIST must continue to be strong and stable as we forge our vision to be a global leader in networking, education, and sustainability for advancing iron and steel technology. I challenge each of you to be an ambassador for steel, to help us bring meaningful change to society's perception about steel and the value it brings to everyone on this planet. And while my tenure as AIST president will end at the conclusion of this conference, I am confident my successor, Tom Toner of SSAB Americas, will provide strong leadership as the organization continues to advance steel manufacturing technology. In the same vein, I must also acknowledge the significant contributions of Keith Howell of ArcelorMittal, who will depart the executive committee after 9 years of dedicated service and leadership. Finally, I wish to emphasize how much I enjoyed meeting many of you through my chapter visits this past year. Steel is a phenomenal business because we have phenomenal people. It has been an honor and a privilege to serve as AIST's as your president. Thank you very much. Next, I would like to introduce a good friend of mine. He's been a mentor and a trusted colleague for many years. Please welcome the president of the AIST Foundation, Glenn Pushis of Steel Dynamics.
Thanks, Barry. Thank you, Barry, and good morning, everyone. The mission of the AIST Foundation is to ensure the iron and steel industry of tomorrow will have a sufficient number of qualified professionals. To fulfill this mission, we provide funding to students and teachers to promote awareness for the opportunities to have a rewarding career in the steel industry. The foundation sponsors a variety of programs for students, highlighted by funding up to 50 steel intern scholarships every year, each including a paid summer internship in addition to the $7,500 scholarship. The foundation also sponsors grants for teachers and university faculty to encourage and recruit more students for employment in steel. We have long-standing grants, such as the Kent D. Peasley Junior Faculty Award, the Steel Curriculum Development Grant, and the Don B. Daly Safety Grant. And several newer grants, such as the Digital Technologies for Steel Manufacturing and sustainable technologies for steel manufacturing. These grants award thousands of dollars every year in support of our academic community. For many of these grants, we leverage industry mentors to connect our companies with various schools to ensure we are solving meaningful, real-world challenges. We are truly grateful to the steel industry and all donors who have supported the AIST Foundation in our efforts through the years, including the golfers and sponsors who came out this past Sunday to raise over $30,000. I would also like to recognize the members of the $200,000 Pledge Club, which include Cleveland Cliffs, Steel Dynamics, Nucor, and U.S. Steel. And while these may be the drivers, the foundation is thriving today because of its industry-wide appeal and broad base of support from companies represented here this morning. In 2005, not all that long ago, the foundation awarded $280,000 in annual support for the steel industry. In 2023, we reached a long-sought goal to award $1 million in a single year. And I ask that we recognize, thank you, I ask that we recognize our trustees with a round of applause. To continue to do what we do, we must never relent when it comes to fundraising. And I ask your help today to encourage your company to make a multi-year pledge to the AIST Foundation. Our industry, as Barry has said, is stronger than ever, and your philanthropy is more important than ever. Please act now to support the AIST Foundation with a financial contribution. I would like to conclude my short message this morning by asking all current and past trustees of the AIST Foundation to please stand and be recognized. All current and past trustees, please stand up. I want to recognize these trustees for their passion and commitment to the foundation. Collectively, we've done some really satisfying work to improve the future of our industry, and I would especially like to acknowledge Ted Lyon of Hatch for his 20 years of service on the foundation board. Ted has served a variety of roles, including treasurer, trustee, and officer since 2003, an amazing 21-year run. Thank you, Ted, and thank you to all trustees. And thank you to all members of the steel community for your generous support of the AIST Foundation. Thank you.
The Association for Iron and Steel Technology acknowledges technical excellence by recognizing, through a peer review process, the active leadership and significant contributions of individuals and companies to AIST and the global iron and steel industry. AIST has an extensive awards program, and this morning we will be recognizing recipients for 8 of the Board of Directors awards. Our first award is the Hunt Kelly Outstanding Paper Award, AIME. Established in 2004, this award represents the best technical papers from among hundreds published by the association during the previous year. Through funds endowed by AIME, this award includes a cash prize of $5,000 for first prize, $2,500 for second place, and $1,000 for third place. This year's first place recipients are Richard Osse, Simon Laca, and Ron O'Malley from Missouri University of Science and Technology, Dmitry Svetkov, and Anthony Bader from Steel Dynamics Flat Roll Group, Columbus Division. The second place recipients are Ross Edmond from Prime Metals Technology, Rainer Klock from ThyssenKrupp AT Protec, Bartosz Smaha from ThyssenKrupp Europe, and Hauk Bartusz from VDEH Institute. And for the third place recipients are Sebastian Flement, Hugo Widebroek, and Zafer Kunt from ArcelorMittal Global R&D Hamilton. On behalf of your fellow authors, I now ask Richard, Ross, and Zafer to join me at the podium. The first place paper is entitled Effective Mold Powder Residue on Thin Cast Slab Scale Structure Evolution During Reheating and Descaling. The second place paper is entitled Improving Blast Furnace Efficiency and Reducing Carbon Emissions with Blast Furnace Oxygen Pulsing Technology. And the third place paper is entitled Importance of Roll Oxide to Increase Roll Life in a Hot Rolling Mill. Thank you. Benjamin F. Fairless Award for Distinguished Achievement in Iron and Steel Metallurgy was established by AIME in 1954 in honor of the former chairman of U.S. Steel for his intense interest in the technology and development of the iron and steel industry, and to recognize distinguished achievement in iron and steel production and ferrous metallurgy. The 2024 recipient is Bill Emmeling. Bill, would you please join me at the podium? The award reads in part for his outstanding contributions to the steel industry as a leader, mentor, and teacher. As a long-time instructor for AIST's continuous casting training seminar, Emmeling has passed along his knowledge of continuous casting process to countless industry peers and inspired the next generation of steelworkers. His enthusiasm to share his expertise and his career-spanning experience exemplifies the spirit of AIST's mission of service. Bill Emmeling.
Thank you, Barry. This award was really unexpected for me. I do feel very honored, especially considering the legacy that it represents. I want to thank my caster buddies who nominated me and endorsed the award: Bill Schlichting, Ron O'Malley, Joe Laughlin, Rudy Moravec, Yun Lee, and Dave Runner. I'd also like to thank the AIST Award and Recognition Committee and the Board of Directors for approving it. Thanks go to SMS Group, my employer, for their support over the years. And I'd also like to thank my wife, Jean, and my family for their patience over the years. It's not easy having a husband and father working long hours and traveling all over creation. I'm proud that I was the first chair of the Continuous Casting Technical Committee. From our initial meeting that we had in Cleveland in 2004, the committee really stressed worker safety and the need for practical education. And our annual seminar has now had more than 2,500 attendees, many of whom have been hourly employees and frontline supervisors. You know, when I was going to university in the 1970s, my professors mentioned continuous casting as a new concept that wasn't proven yet. As a young engineer, however, I was fascinated by the technology. I saw my first caster 45 years ago, and ironically, my tour guide on that day was Bill Barker. It's a bit, excuse me, a bit poetic that we're both getting an honor today. During my career, we not only saw casting as proven, but we also saw the successful development of thin slab casting, thick slab casting, ultra thick casting of both slab and blooms, horizontal casting, thin strip casting, near net shape, and beam blank casting, and also direct and endless rolling of both flat and long products. Now, casting has been adopted as more than 95% worldwide. While I spent much of my career working in melting areas, casting has always been my favorite, and I'm very happy and honored to accept this award. Thank you.
Next is the AIST TMS John F. Elliott Lectureship Award. This award was established in 1990 to honor Professor Elliott of the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. Through a series of university lectures, the award is conferred to acquaint students and engineers with the exciting opportunities in chemical process metallurgy and materials chemistry. This year's recipient is Sarah Hornby. Sarah, would you please come to the podium? The award reads in part for her outstanding contributions to the international steel industry over several decades. She has made a particular impact in illustrating how the chemistry of direct reduced iron affects steelmaking metallurgy and the performance of electric arc furnace technology with different combinations of scrap and DRI. She has been a trailblazer for many women entering the steel industry.
Thanks very much, Barry. It was quite a surprise to receive a letter from Ron saying that I had won this award. And I'd very much like to thank the international team that put me forward for this award from Australia, Argentina, Canada, and the US of A, headed by Professor Jeffrey Brooks from Swinburne, Australia. And also the AIST Awards and Recognition Committee and the Board of Directors for ratifying this award. I'm truly honored yet humbled by the prior awardees to represent John Elliott in this lectureship. He was an outstanding chemical process metallurgy educator and iron steel contributor. In the next year, I'm going to be talking about this green steel revolution, which I think is going to offer incredible potentials to the university graduates and undergraduates. I've been involved in this industry for many years as an unofficial educator, both to my company and to the industry with which I've worked. After my moving reception at Sheffield Hallam last November, where I interacted with graduates and the undergraduates, and also the women in engineering, I'm truly looking forward to spending the next year formally sharing my enthusiasm for this great industry, belaying some of the misconceptions, and presenting the amazing technologies that will exist and the opportunities for the green revolution for the new graduates entering this industry. Whilst a full itinerary is not yet developed, I've been receiving invitations internationally from Australia, Canada, UK, and the USA. So I may even challenge Jeff Brooks in his actual, I think the highest number of universities mentioned. I'm one away from his record right now, and I haven't even started looking. So thank you very much. Thank you.
The Brimacombe Memorial Lecture Award was established in 1999 to honor Keith Brimacombe's outstanding accomplishments in process metallurgy, his dedication to the steel industry, and his profound effect on the people in the industry. The 2024 recipient is Sunday Abraham, SSAB Americas. Sunday, would you please come to the podium? Dr. Abraham's lecture, as presented yesterday, was entitled Integrating Physics-Based Modeling and Artificial Intelligence for Smart Manufacturing.
Good morning. I want to thank Ian Dix, April Budget, Chad Cutcut of Steco, and Ben Coyne for supporting my nomination for this award. I want to thank SSAB for providing the platform for employees to grow. I want to thank my family for being my anchor. And I want to thank AIST. I have many dreams, but I have never dreamt of receiving the Brimacombe Award. I want to thank AIST and Ron Ashburn for making this dream come true. And I want to thank you for everything you are doing for the steel industry. So thank you.
To present our next award, please welcome to the podium Thaddeus Senzimer, President and CEO of T. Senzimer Incorporated. Thaddeus.
Thank you, Barry. The Thaddeus Senzimer Memorial Medal for Innovation in Steel Manufacturing was established in 1990 in memory of my grandfather's achievements and engineering contributions in developing process equipment for the steel industry. The award is presented in recognition of an individual who has advanced steelmaking through the invention, development, or application of new manufacturing processes or equipment. This year's recipient is Donald Laurento, retired from AccuMold. Don was unable to make it with us today and has asked Ian Deeks from Nucor to accept on his behalf. Ian, would you please join me at the podium? The award reads in part, in recognition of his nearly half-century dedication to the steel industry and his advancements in the continuous casting process, involved in the early days of thermal modeling of the mold and secondary spray cooling of continuous casters, Loreno's understanding of solidification assisted steelmakers with mold data for increased speed for improving steel quality and cost-efficient casting.
Good morning, everyone. Just going to say a couple of words. And it's with immense pleasure that I'm here on behalf of the 2024 To-Do Senzimir Award winner, Don Loreno, recognizing him for the invention of the wave mold. This technology was brought to the market through KME and it was sold throughout the world. His invention of introducing waves or corrugation into the tube mold provided a robust solution to an industry-wide problem in the billet world, commonly known as snaking, known as rhomboid section, which plagued the medium carbon, low manganese grades like G40 rebar. Not only did it solve the problem, it's saving yield, bar mill rolling issues, it also improved the energy reduction in the reheating. After several applications at Nucor, I had the opportunity to talk to Don about the invention. And Don was well into retirement from AccuMold at the time that this was invented. He took a different view from us metallurgists. He was more of a physicist. He was self-educated, beginning work in the 60s in a factory company, did some work with British Steel, and then went on to Canada where he joined into the AccuMold, refurbishing billets, beam and plate molds, as well as producing and manufacturing mold components. Don spent his early years working with Keith Brimacombe and also in the Dura Zamoreska at UBC on the challenges of billet casting, and he was instrumental in designing the molds and the parabolic tapers. Don mentioned that introducing waves to the molds was not new. Don's revelation to the invention was born in the advent of advancement in machining technology, coupled with the idea that locking in the shell in the mold would solve the problem. I'm here today as Don is ill, and he's home undergoing treatments, and I know when I say on behalf of everyone here, along with the AIST staff and executive, that we wish Don all the best in a speedy and successful recovery. Our prayers are with him. On behalf of Don, I wish to thank you, the membership, the AIST membership, staff, and executive for recognition of this prestigious award. Thank you.
The Distinguished Member and Fellow Award was established in 1975 and is awarded to an AIST member who has attained eminent distinction in advancing the technical development, production, processing, and application of iron and steel, and has performed meritorious service to the association. There are 5 recipients this year. Our first recipient is Tom Behringer from Gantrex. Tom, would you please join me at the podium? The award reads in part for his dedication to the education of a generation of steel industry crane engineers. Behringer has been an enthusiastic advocate for the annual AIST Crane Symposium, through which thousands of crane professionals have learned about the technical advancements in the overhead crane industry. His passion for educating and mentoring the next generation of steel industry professionals embodies the true spirit of AIST. Tom.
Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you. It's great to be here. This is an honor that I didn't expect, and I'm very much humbled by it and pleased. But it really is an honor that goes to a lot of people that have been involved in this Cranes Committee for a number of years. Chief among them, Mark McGinley. Mark, I apologize, I don't know where you are. Somewhere, there he is. Mark has been a champion for not only me, but many others in the committee, and his work in producing documents and technical reports and events over the decades of AIST that I've had the privilege of serving with him has been nothing short of inspirational. To the staff at AIST, these are the best in the industry. From Ron Ashburn to Brian Bliss and Shannon Kiley and Jessica Mortimer, Ken Landau, so many people that have made our committee what it is today and allowed us to propagate safe and effective technologies for the crane industry. So to them, I thank. I thank my company, Gantrex. I think they're over there somewhere. Mark Veit, who's been a tremendous support in allowing me time to work with this organization and on this committee. My team members that have joined us today, the breakfast, thanks for coming too. To the mentors that I've been blessed to have spent time with, Charlie Totten, Jim Salisbury, Mike Bassick, people that have come and served and have gone on, and also those that are here now, including Mark and Ryan Marks and Matt Brules and Rich Warner and Bill Scherenbeck, my right-hand guy for the Crane Symposium. So many people that have absolutely made this the pleasure that it is. And that's really what it is for me. It's a pleasure to be with you people, to be with so many brilliant engineers and maintenance people over the years that have helped me become what I am in the industry. And I encourage you, if you're involved in the cranes industry specifically, come join us and see what this exciting movement is doing, not only in our upcoming event in June, but in the events that will take place in coming years. To the people in my past, to people in my present, and to those of you in the future who have come to contribute to the work that collectively we produce. Thank you all, and again, thanks to the AIST board and to Mark for your support. Good morning, and thank you.
Our second recipient is Mike Dudzik, retired from ArcelorMittal Dofasco. Mike, would you please join me at the podium? The award reads in part, in recognition for his career technical contributions to enhance the steel industry in the areas of modeling, control, automation, and digitization. As a longtime contributor to AIST's technology committees and events, Dudzik's strategic efforts, enthusiasm, and willingness to share his expertise have helped establish AIST as the epicenter for digital transformation within the steel industry.
Wow, I'm honored to have this opportunity to get this award. I did want to thank Shannon Clark for nominating me and for all those that endorsed this recommendation. I've been very fortunate in my career with many opportunities working in process automation at ArcelorMittal Dofasco. One of those opportunities was early in my career to be able to work with my technical peers in AIST's computer application group. That group was very significant when I look back about eight or 9 years ago. Back in around 2015, 2016, the world was declaring that we are now into the fourth industrial revolution with digitalization technologies such as AI, cloud computing, that were going to significantly change the way process industries work in terms of improving their performance and optimization of their results. Working with my colleagues at AIST, it became very clear early on that we needed an effective communication strategy to help the steel industry with what are these technologies all about and what are the solution opportunities that make sense for the steel industry. With AIST's very strong support, we created a new specialty workshop called the Digital Transformation Forum for the Steel Industry, which we launched in 2019. And we have another one, our fifth one will be upcoming in October this year. So just a quick plug for that. Looking back, when I see all the learnings we've done with the digitalization at that workshop, as well as the many digitalization presentations at AISTech, I'm really seeing that the steel industry is embracing the value proposition that digitalization is providing. I'm really noticing the acceleration of implementations of digitalization that I've seen across many steel industries, and I believe this will only continue as these solutions mature. Just concluding, I'd like to thank all my colleagues with their support in helping organize and get these workshops underway. And finally, I'd like to thank my wife, Kelly, for all her support throughout my digitalization and working career. Thank you very much.
Our next recipient is Chris Pistorius from Carnegie Mellon University. Chris, would you please join me at the podium? The award reads in part for significant contributions to the technical advancement of corrosion research, iron making, and clean steel processing. In his tenure as AIST Transactions Editor, Pistorius has tirelessly worked to increase the volume of peer-reviewed papers. Through his participation in numerous AIST technology committees, Pistorius has freely shared his expertise in iron and steel research and advanced materials processing. Dr. Pistorius.
I would like to thank Lauren and her co-conspirators for nominating me, and then many other people, the steel industry, for their long-time support of our research activities at Carnegie Mellon, for coming up with interesting problems and ideas for us to research for the AIST, to provide this forum for information exchange, family, friends, for their support, former students, and then very specifically the AIST staffers who do the real work of putting out the Transactions Journal, specifically Alicia, Amanda, and Ken. Thank you.
Our next recipient is Sridhar Sitharaman of Arizona State University. Sridhar, would you please join me at the podium? The award reads in part for sustained contributions in research, teaching, and service, including vision, leadership, and support of AIST transactions and sustainable manufacturing. Throughout his career, Sitharaman has built strategic partnerships and executed key initiatives across industry, government, and academia. His service has ensured the advancement and dissemination of steelmaking research across the world.
Thanks a lot, and I'm very humbled to receive this award and recognition. I'm not sure I deserve it if I compare myself to everybody else here and all the past recipients. I want to thank Ron O'Malley and John Spears, Sunday Abraham, and everybody else who nominated me. So I started my career, I don't look that way, but I actually grew up and got educated as a metallurgist in Sweden long, long ago. And it's kind of nice to see all the green steel activities that go on there. And then I went on to MIT, and I spent my time at the same basement lab in the Infinite Corridor as Ron O'Malley, actually, working on iron and steel. And I joined, actually, ISS in 1999 as a young leader. And whatever I've achieved in the field and anything useful I've done has been thanks to this organization and its people. So thank you so much.
Next up, we honor a group collectively being called the AIST Pioneers. Bill Barker, Ian Sadler, Joe Rakowski, and Tom Getke. Tom Getke passed away in 2019, and while he was previously elevated in his own right to Distinguished Member and Fellow in 2014, his efforts were very much part of this group, and we choose to recognize him again in this manner. I now ask Bill, Ian, and Joe to join me at this podium. Their award reads in part, for exemplary leadership, courage, and wisdom during a time of peril in the North American steel industry. With over 40 steel producers bankrupt in the early 2000s, the dire situation depleted the resources of the Association of Iron Steel Engineers and the Iron and Steel Society, such that neither was able to adequately fulfill its independent mission of service. Recognizing the utmost importance of technical and professional development for all within the industry, particularly and especially in times of significant change, the pioneers envisioned a singular association with industry-wide appeal and global reach. In 2004, we united and formed independent groups under a shared purpose to advance the technical development, production, processing, and application of iron and steel.
We would like to recognize again Tom Getke, who was part of our group, and we miss him and his contributions to the organization. So we'd like a round of applause just in his memory again. He's a great guy.
Good morning. Never in my wildest dreams did I imagine that I would be up here on this dais once again. A sincere, huge, heartfelt thank you to all the people who made this possible. You know who you are, so I'm not going to recite a long list of names. However, I do have to mention one person by name. My wife of more than 50 years, Linda. Without your support and encouragement, I would not be standing here today. When I look back over 20 years, two words kept coming to my mind. I realized that the four of us always operated with a high degree of respect and trust, not only with each other, but also when interacting with all the other stakeholders. With respect and trust, things get accomplished more easily and much, much faster. So AIST came into being, built on a foundation of respect and trust, and has gone on to be more successful than we ever dared to imagine back in 2004. Thank you.
I'd like to thank everyone for bringing us up here, and we're terribly honored. I'd like to echo what Bill had to say about Tom Getke. Honestly, it was Bill and Tom Getke that actually made this happen more than anyone. And a lot of the things they did for each of the groups to bring us together was truly amazing. I'll take you back in time. If you weren't part of this industry between 2000 and 2003, you were very, very fortunate. The industry was in a shambles. Bankruptcies were happening daily. A lot of it went to liquidation. And the entire market cap of the four largest steel companies in North America added to about less than $7 billion. The industry was in trouble. Our organizations may have survived, but we ended up recognizing that forming one organization from AISE and ISS was inevitable. And fortunately, we got together and we made it happen. And there was a lot of people in this room. It wasn't the four of us. If you want to know how it was on the vendor side, please ask Ron Ashburn, because we were able to get him out of DMAG during that time, rather than him slitting his wrists. So again, I just want to thank you. Today, that industry, the market cap of the top 4 steelmakers is around $80 billion, up from 7. So thank everyone in this room for making that happen. Also for the organizations, I think at the time of the merger were less than 10,000. We're now at, what, 18,000? Thank you for making that happen. Thank you for continuing the technological advancement of this industry. To all Nucor members out there, thank you for keeping the stock up. I love you all. Thank you.
The Steelmaker of the Year Award was established in 1991 to recognize a prominent individual for steel industry leadership. This year's recipient is Chuck Schmidt, president of SSAB Americas. Chuck, would you please join me at the podium? The award reads in part, in recognition of his exemplary leadership, pioneering vision for environmental sustainability, strong support for research and innovation, commitment to employee safety, and dedication to a culture of inclusion and diversity. Under Schmidt's leadership, SSAB Americas has become a major player in steel and a choice for many who aspire to work in the steel industry.
Good morning. Thank you, Barry. Thank you, Ron. I'm very honored and I'm humbled to be recognized by the AIST as the Steelmaker of the Year on behalf of the hundreds of men and women who work tirelessly to make SSAB a great success. This recognition is a testament to the combined effort and continued dedication of every SSAB team member. My hat's off to each of you for your unwavering commitment to drive our industry leadership in the areas of safety, product quality, customer experience, innovation, and environmental sustainability. I'd also like to thank the leadership members of the AIST. Our organization enables producers and suppliers to have open dialogue and share information and best practices that address the technical challenges of making tomorrow's world-class steel and delivering material solution for tomorrow's generation. The collaboration provided at AISTech covers a wide range of topics, all critical toward our advancement of our industry and products. I highlight one example by my SSAB colleague, Dr. Sunday Abraham, presented during his opening lecture on integrating physics-based modeling and artificial intelligence for smart manufacturing. Congratulations, Dr. Abraham, and a job very well done. In addition to smart manufacturing, SSAB and other steel companies are leading the effort in meeting the challenge of reducing CO2 emissions in our manufacturing process. This is evidenced by the environmental benefits and significant advancements that steel produced in the United States offers compared to producers from other regions in the world that have more carbon-intensive and much less efficient industries. AIST has played a significant role in providing a voice to our domestic steel industry in recent years, and together we have developed a unified message regarding the technical opportunities for steel production, particularly in our efforts to inform government decision makers who provide the resources and enact the policies that support how the steel industry will adapt to the market's needs in the future. SSAB's journey to transform its own operation is very bold and ambitious. Our breakthrough efforts, such as the introduction of SSAB Zero, the lowest COTE steel product available in the market today, demonstrates SSAB's commitment to innovation and pioneering the way sustainable practices and technological development. Now is the time for SSAB Americas and our industry's next generation of bold steelmakers to focus on the future challenges with renewed vigor and a very clear vision of success for tomorrow. So in closing, it's my privilege to accept this recognition from the AIST and its members on behalf of my incredible SSAB team members. I'm very grateful for their hard work, day in, day out, 24/7, and proud of their well-earned recognition. So I'll further close with recognizing the distinguished retirees that have built this wonderful industry legacy and pass it on to those, the young engineers and the young executives in this room to carry on the success that is predetermined for our future and our success. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
The final award is the William Hogan Memorial Lecture Award. This award was established in 1990 in memory of the late Reverend William Hogan, director of Fordham University's Industrial Economics Research Institute. A true innovator in economic education, Reverend Hogan taught generations of students about industrial interdependence and the steel industry's vital role in economic development. Today's honorary lecturer shares Hogan's view of the importance of steel and has been selected in recognition of individual outstanding leadership to the iron and steel industry. I am pleased to introduce the recipient of the 2024 William Hogan Memorial Lecture Award and our keynote speaker, Máximo Vedoya.
Good morning. Oh, what a crowd. Ron. Thank you very much, Barry, for that kind introduction. I would like to start congratulating all the awards recipients today, and especially mention to Chuck Smith. Chuck, congratulations for that very, very well-deserved recognition. I would also like to thank Barry, Ron, and all the SA team for the honor of being representing Ternium as a leader steel company in the Americas, and for being recognized with the Father Hogan Award. In Ternium, we are very proud of the relationship we have with AIST, especially with the Mexican chapter, where we have been very active for the nearly 30 years. Before it was AIST, I just found out that. We are very proud also that for the last 2 years, this chapter was recognized for its rapid growth. So thank you very much to all the Mexican members, to all the delegates I saw around here for making a great job. I want to start by making a disclaimer, because I totally agree with what Barry said at the beginning of our event. The steel industry, or it's fantastic and emotional times for the steel industry, especially in this part of the world, which I call North America, as a little bit big, Canada, US, and Mexico. Clearly, the North American steel industry is leading the way to show the world that we can have a sustainable, profitable steel industry. But it's not the same around all the other parts of the world. So Ron asked me to, or at least that's what I thought, that it was Ron's idea, to ask me to talk about steel industry challenges. And I said to him that probably we will need like 2 or 3 hours for that. But he put a clock of 20 minutes there, so I have to be a little bit quick. And undoubtedly, we have many, many challenges. Safety, how to attract and retain talent, technology. I mean, how we incorporate all the technologies, the digitalization in our facilities. All things that you are probably going to talk in length during this wonderful event. So I would like to talk about 2 specific challenges that I consider should be our top priorities, and I think the way we deal with them will probably shape the future of our industry. Interesting enough, these two challenges are also a huge opportunity for our region. I think the competitive of the steel region, as I said, make us or put us in a very good position, and these challenges clearly are opportunity for this part of the region. First of all, decarbonization. And we talk a little bit about that. The iron and steel industry contributes to 8% of the global total emissions of CO2. And this places us in the spotlight as part of the problem. But our region is in a very good competitive position. As we will see, we have the conditions to be the center of the energy transition, and we can lead that. And second, China. I know this is a current or a repeat thing, but I think that it's very important that we discuss that. And after more than 30 years of joining the WTO, the World Trade Organization, China failed to meet the commitment of becoming a market economy. And even more concerning, and this is the difficult part, far from getting closer to a solution in all this year, the situation is getting even worse. From steel and aluminum to EVs, battery, rare earth magnetics, China is now occupying all manufacturing spectrums through subsidies, lack of transparency, and incentives to state-owned enterprise. The path or solution for this challenge is more complex, but as a region, we have a stronger position if we act together. But before I get into these two challenges, let me address or offer a quick glimpse of what is Ternium, since I know some of you here are not very familiar with who we are. I think we have, here. No. Oh, there. Sorry about that. Ternium is part of the Chin Group, which has nearly 1,000 employees and operates globally in the steel industry with Ternium and Tenaris, construction, oil and gas, technology with our friends of Tenova, which I saw around here, and health sector. Ternium in particular is a vertically integrated steel industrial system. As you can see in the slide, our activity goes from mining to the production of finished steel products, with facilities located in Mexico, Brazil, Argentina, Colombia, and the United States. In mid-2023, we further our commitment in Brazil by increasing our stake in Usiminas, where Ternium has already participated for the last 10 years. With this agreement, we began consolidating Usiminas in our financial statement, starting in the third quarter of last year. This move consolidates Ternium's position as the leading steelmaker in Latin America and one of the largest of the Americas, taking us to a production capacity of over 20 million metric tons of hot-rolled coils of steel and more than 12 million tons of iron ore. A lot of you ask me about the expansion plans, because I think some of you know about our Pesquería expansion plan. So let me, and as we are in a technological conference, let me go very quickly through this. We launched last year our most ambitious investment plan in our history, $3.5 billion that we are going to invest in Pesquería in the northern Mexico. Of this, the most important part is $2.4 billion that go to build an integrated DRI-EAF steel mill. This new steel shop will provide a system with 2.6 million tons of slabs a year and support our ongoing efforts in decarbonization. This will be the first cleanest DRI-EAF to be able to produce all the range of automotive, including exposed products. We will operate with one of the lowest CO2 emissions per ton in the Americas for the automotive industry. Our decision was to move forward with the Novas technology, our sister company, so I have to make some propaganda of the guys, and the Dechin R&D arm, which has been leading innovation on decarbonization throughout this route. For us, the DRI EAF technology is the cleanest and smartest choice considering the automotive market we are aiming to. Well, this steel shop will include a EAF of 300 tons using the Nova Consteel system, which uses EAF off-gas to preheat scrap for energy efficient, achieving the lowest NOx and CO2 emissions compared to a traditional EAF. Among other features, this Consteel EAF will have benchmark productivity because of low tap-to-tap time with automatic operations and optimization process control. The factory also has 2 leather furnaces of liquid steel, 1 air-ride type vacuum degassing system, 1 continuous casting machine with 2 stands. The investment will also have a state-of-the-art Energeron DRI module of 2.1 million tons. Ternium already operates 3 DRI facilities in Mexico with carbon capture featurables, and the main feature of this plant is that the flexibility. The EAF can also be fed with very percentage of scrap and hot DRI through the high-temp pneumatic transport system. And also the DRI, as the DRI facilities we already have in Mexico, includes the carbon capture technology, enabling the beverage industry to save CO2 production and enhance circular economy. It's also fully prepared to use green hydrogen in the future, as whenever it becomes economically feasible to do so. And this investment is a huge contribution towards our decarbonization path and of our ambition to become carbon neutrality of all our products and in operations whenever the technology and the cost will allow us to do. So, talking about decarbonization and one of the challenges, as I mentioned before, this is a huge challenge for the iron and steel sector because we contributed 8% of the global emission of CO2. And this thing, as I said, put us in the spotlight as part of the problem. Yet, as Barry also said, I'm a firm believer that we are at the core part of the solution. If we want to grow as an industry, to get capital to invest in all these new technologies, if we want to attract and retain the best talent, we should deliver this message very loudly. Steel is an infinitely recycled material, and there's currently no substitution with fewer emission. Globally, more steel, I don't know if you know this, but I was amazed a couple of months ago when I learned this. There's more steel recycled in the world. There's twice much steel recycled in the world than all the other materials recycled combined. So it's a huge impact for the world and the decarbonization of the world. Steel also plays a fundamental role in the energy transition, serving as the material for structural renewable energy projects such as solar panels, wind towers, thermal power plants, and hydroelectric stations. Now, in a world that is becoming more regionalized, I think we need to analyze how we, as a region, are inserted in this challenge. I think. Oh, yeah. So, if we consider the mix of product routes and local energy metrics, our region has an important competitive advantage against other regions, and I put there the world, China, and Europe, in emissions per ton of crude steel. You can see in the left side part of the chart how Mexico, the US, and Canada are the lowest producers of CO2 per ton in the world. And we have an important opportunity of reducing emissions if we work together, improving our electrical emission factor, which is in the right, I think it's, yeah, in the right side of the graph. We still have a lot of work to do, but in the electrical grid, on the electrical market. In the short and medium term, our region should concentrate on this, on developing renewable energy sources that are reliable and affordable to replace fossil fuel-based energy and invest in infrastructure for transmission and distribution. And that's why I said that this is opportunity. We have done the hard part of decarbonizing the steel industry in our region. Now we need to move forward with the energy grid, I think. And we also need policy, and because of this, we need policy and legal framework that incentive investment in research and development and industrial decarbonization efforts. Also, policies should prioritize consumption of clean regional manufacture over imports from countries with way higher carbon footprint, as we saw in the graph. It is clear, we have a clean energy matrix against other regions, advanced technology for steel production, geographic conditions, and the necessary skills for pursuing innovation. That's why producing steel in North America is much cleaner for our planet than producing steel in other regions of the world like China. We are in the best position to lead energy transition. And as I said at the beginning, and I think Barry also said it, we have to make this clear, this message clearly loud. We have to put it there. I don't think the public, the general public knows about these exciting times that the steel industry in North America is facing. Second, China. And China is an enormous challenge. And let me provide a brief overview of this. After, I think, more than 20 years of joining the WTO, the World Trade Organization, China failed to meet their commitment to become a market economy. After all these years, far from getting closer to a solution, the situation is even more concerning. Since the beginning of the 2000s, China surged, and I think you can see it here, from concentrating less than 5% of global manufacturing output to nearly 40% today. This is a massive move of manufacturing jobs from around the world to China. And you can see that in the chart how Europe and the US, being developed economies, suffer from this transformation in these short 20 years. But I can give you a lot of examples that this is also happening, or this also happened in developing worlds. And I can use, as I'm from Latin America, I usually use the Brazilian example. Brazil was the most industrial country in Latin America by that time, and was supposed to be the first country to become a developed economy. They have a very robust industrial system. 30% of the GDP was representing industrial production. Today, that number is less than 11%. Again, a massive destruction of manufacturing jobs. Today, most of Brazilian exports are soybean, iron ore, and different minerals, which are clearly very important, but they're not very value-added in job creations, to be honest. And the result, as we said in Latin America, is that Brazil, as most of Latin America did, with the quite exception of Mexico, become an economy that's driven by the primary sector. There's a word in Spanish, primarización, which I don't know the translation to English, to be honest. I never did It's kind of primarization, but I don't think that represents anything. But it means that the economy in Brazil changed from our industrial economy to a very prime sector leading economy, with the problems that that conceived, because more stable, better paid, high quality jobs disappeared from this part. And today, as I said, Brazil exports mainly to China very primary-led products and imports manufacturing products. The China approach is very clear. They created an addictive dependence market for steel and metal goods, deteriorating the capacity of other countries to compete in manufacturing and draining their natural resources. The process, this process of the last 20 years, I think that some economists, and there are many here, but they call it China Shock 1.0. And I think that part of the world realized that this was not the correct path. This was not the sustainable path. In 2015, Mexico, for example, started to put some tariff to China's imports as steel, and then they put it to other problems. The US also lead the way in this part. And as Barry was saying, this exact time part is because of that. I think the USMCA as a whole group thought or saw the situation and thought we have to decouple from China. We have to get back to our roots. We have to improve. We have to grow our manufacturing capacity. And I think we are capitalizing on this moment, on this agenda. Industries within our country have announced substantial investment to bring manufacturing and value-added supply chains back to the region. But if we think that this challenge is not over, we have to think again. Because this is only the last month, as you see, in papers like the Wall Street Journal, The Economist, Reuters, papers that are pro-free trade, they are putting this subject in the newspaper. And this, as they call it now, we are facing a new wave, China 2.0. And to be honest, this is even more concerning. This new wave is driven by China's overcapacity, now expanding to all manufacturer sectors, from energy transition supply chain and advanced technology manufacturer, all of them with a strong component of steel and metal goods. The situation is getting even worse, with a slowdown in their domestic consumption, which could float our countries even more and risk manufacturing jobs across all the steel industry and, more important, the value chain of the steel industry. And to make a little bit worse this matter, unfair competition comes not only from China, but from countries that people are starting to call China plus allies, where countries like Vietnam, Malaysia, where Chinese state-owned companies are investing in new capacity of manufacture, in steel capacity, but in other sectors, and then they are transpassing or they're transshipment the trade laws that we have in the region. If you say this is our trade balance of the region with Asian nations such as China, Vietnam, and Malaysia, you see the problem is not going away. It is increasing. We go from $3 billion of trade deficit to more than almost $1 billion deficit. This deficit is driven mainly by imports of manufacturing goods, highlights the urgency of collective action. And I repeat, I think that the agenda that our governments are putting forward is very important, but we have to continue that path to make this threat, this challenge, not disappear, it's never going to disappear, but at least stay at the way it is. The China issue is not over, and China is finding new ways to become a new problem. And in the steel industry in particular, this is also true. These numbers in the steel industry went from $7.5 billion to almost 40 billion today. So we are still having these trade deficits, these unfair trade capacities in the region. We have been witnessing continued dishonest attempts from China to avoid sanction and tariff, and, as I said, investing, for example, in other nations with the SOS. We cannot allow China to continue taking away quality production jobs driven by unfair imports and to determine our industry. We need to strongly address unfair trade, from dumping to transshipments in all their forms. Countries that fail to grasp this threat will face a tsunami that will impact employment and economic development. And we are seeing some other regions that are happening this. And talking about this, I'm sure, and we have discussed, and we have seen some news targeting our region, our commerce or trade between our region as also as problematic and a potential threat to the US steel industry. And because we are taking this subject, I want to try to make or address the matter and see some misinformation. Steel trade between Mexico and the US, I think, is mutually beneficial. And it has a surplus to the US. Last year, the US exported to Mexico 4.1 million metric tons of finished steel, while Mexico exported to the US 2.3 million tons, almost half of what the US sent to Mexico. And that's fine. I don't have any problem with that. In terms of market share, the discrepancy is even greater. Mexico steel represents only 2% of US market share, while steel from the US represents almost 15% of Mexican market share. And the other thing is, even there is, as I said, very much to be done, the Mexican government was one of the first that better understood the threat from China and, in consequence, implemented several measures to defend the national and regional steel industry against unfair prices. Currently, Mexico has more than 30 anti-dumping measures against China for flat, long, and pipe products. And, as I said, since 2015, Mexico implemented tariff. In 2023, it raised tariff from 10 to 25% in various steel and a range of manufacturing products. And a couple of months ago, this tariff scheme was expanded to over 500 products across multiple sectors, with tariff going from 20 to 35%. These measures target specific countries like the one we were talking, such as China, and the whole idea of this is to level the playing field for local production. Mexico also strengthened surveillance measures, including the relaunch of import license monitoring for the steel, which includes data such as and support transparently, legality, and fair trade. So again, I think we have to put the region in a context and try to work together with these issues. Because all of this, with a view, we must view and engage our countries as partners and collectively confront unfair trade practice, which undermine both of our economies. By doing so, we can make sure that we move forward the right direction and prepare the ground for the continuous growth and prosperity of our industry. Together as a region, by fostering a spirit of cooperation and solidarity, we can navigate the complexity of the global economy and emerge stronger, more resilient, and better equipped to shape our future. It is clearly together that we can affront that those two challenges that I think, as I said in the beginning, we reshape the steel industry in the next 20 years. With that, thank you very much, Ron. Thank you very much, Barry. Thank you very much to all the AIST members and to all the AIST people for this award and this honor of talking today with you. Thank you very much to all. 20 minutes.
Thank you, Maximo. Before we close, I would also like to congratulate all the award recipients today and acknowledge the following groups that have made AISTech 2024 possible. The Conference Planning Committee, chaired by Shannon Clark from ArcelorMittal Dofasco. The Systems Group for their premier sponsorship of AISTech and their added support with this morning's program. Resonac and Superbooth for the AISTech Global Event sponsorship. The 29 Technology Committees for compiling an excellent technical program. The 687 exhibiting companies for their support of our exposition. The Greater Columbus Convention Center, and our tremendous AIST staff. Let's give them all a final round of applause. This concludes our program this morning. Thank you very much for attending.